Hello and welcome to today's video lesson. Today we will be learning about organizational climate and industrial relations. I am Richie Simon, Assistant Professor from the Department of Social Work, BSSS. So in this presentation, we will be learning about organizational climate, the management of organizational climate, industrial relations, its management, and finally with a conclusion. What is organizational climate? Climate, the term that we commonly understand, refers to the weather conditions prevailing in a particular geographical location. Likewise, we do have a term called as organizational climate, which represents the psychological atmosphere that a person experiences in any given organization. Let's take a look at a definition which is given by Forehand and Gilmer. Climate consists of a set of characteristics that describe an organization, distinguish it from other organizations, and relatively enduring over time. It remains, it persists for a prolonged period of time, and certainly it affects the behavior of employees in the organization. So now let's take a look at the features of organizational climate. The first point here says it's a perception of the work environment. How do we perceive, how do we think about the organization into which we work? That's going to create your psychological atmosphere. That's going to make you feel, that's going to make you sense what this organization is all about. It's a quick picture of the relationship between the organization and its employees. So how do I really feel about the employer? How do I really feel about the employees, the colleagues with whom I am working? It is related to the quality and suitability of the work environment. It has to do with the support that the employees feel they receive from the organization, whether I feel I am receiving support from the management or not, whether I feel that I am receiving support from the co-workers or not. That is going to lead to the sense of organizational climate. Of course, it has to do with the organizational structure, so the number of levels that an organization is having, as well as the kind of communication which is being promoted and encouraged in the organization, that will affect organizational climate. It has also to do with the positive and negative effects, how people behave in the organization. It is going to affect the behavior of people in the organization positively or negatively. The friendlier you feel, the accepted you feel, more positive sense of climate will be there, more positive behavior the people will be depicting in the organization, and the hostile climate that you are getting a sense of, and it's going to affect your behavior negatively. So these are some of the features of organizational climate. Having known the characteristics of organizational climate, the question comes, what affects organizational climate? What are the determinants? What are the factors which will be affecting organizational climate? And here on the slide you can see major factors which might affect organizational climate, be it the content, be it the clarity, be it the comfort, be it the autonomy, task orientation, the leadership styles, managerial support, and whatnot. So many factors which can really develop and create a sense of belongingness or hostility within the employees of the organization, completing the framework of organizational climate. So if there are so many factors that are going to affect organizational climate, how do I create a sound organizational climate? How do I create a positive climate in the organization? This is how you can do it. Identify the factors that motivate or demotivate the employees. Identify them, discover them. What is making the workforce motivated? What is making the workforce demotivated? Have clear and attainable goals and get them articulated in the team as well. Everybody is aware about what they have to do and how, what is expected of them. Recognize the performance of those who stand out. Yes, it is important to take up disciplinary actions, but it is also important to acknowledge the efforts of the people who are really outstanding. know how delegation of task is being perceived. Is it like people are feeling that they are being burdened with some task? Some people are feeling the sense of burden, or some people are really relaxing. How the delegation of task is perceived, this should be gauged by the people in the management for a better organizational climate. Have the correct perception of leadership, and of course use tools like climate surveys and administer them timely. Consider and be responsive to the cues. So if you are getting a sense of people getting dissatisfied, demotivated, do something about it. Identify the factors behind it and work accordingly. So now let's take a look at it in a procedural manner. How do you create an organizational climate, a sound organizational climate? First, you have to plan. You need to plan for climate improvement efforts. Yes, I will be doing something. I will be doing something to improve the climate of my organization. Next comes identifying the factors, the determinants, what is really affecting the climate of any organization. Having identified them, the process does not stop here. It will take a move forward, which is about taking some corrective actions about it. Really doing something about the factors, the determinants which are affecting the climate in any organization. So first, planning, then identifying and managing the determinants of organizational climate, and finally, taking up actions to improve the climatic conditions, the organizational climate of any organization. Now let's move to the next component of the video lesson, that is industrial relations. So what are industrial relations? What is this terminology all about? It represents the complex employment relationship between employer and employees. Yes, it's a complex relationship I'm speaking about. Complex relationships which are arising in the employment areas between employer, employee, or maybe employee and employer. A definition that is given by C.K. Johari says industrial relationship is a set of functional interdependence involving occupational, political, and legal variables. So though it is all about relationships, but then there are a lot of variables, a lot of factors which are going to affect industrial relations in any organization. So let's take a look at the characteristics of industrial relations. First thing, like I have explained, it is the relation that is existing in the industry, which is created by diverse and complex attitudes and approaches, depending on a lot of variables, a lot of factors which are going to govern industrial relations. And they are being experienced and projected by both management and the workers in any industry. So basically it is a relationship which is existing between two elements existing in the organization, say the employees and the employer, or a group of theirs. This relationship emphasizes on the process of accommodation, how these two units are really functional together in a harmonious manner in any organization. It emphasizes on the process of accommodation, whereby both the parties develop skills and methods to adjust with one another. So they have to work in a cooperating manner along with to accomplish the goals of the organization. Industrial relation is a set of functional interdependence involving a number of factors. Like I have already said, there are a number of factors which govern industrial relations. To coin up some, it can be, say, wages, it can be, say, the working conditions, it can be, say, the interpersonal relations. Everything is going to affect industrial relations in the organization. Every industrial relation creates a complex of rules and regulations to govern the workplace with the main purpose of attaining harmonious relations. So the main purpose behind really looking to this concept of industrial relations is about maintaining harmonious relations, how the different groups in the organization can work together to accomplish the goals towards which the organization is functional. And of course, we have a third party here, which is the government or the state. and it's going to play the role of a mediator, of a moderator, governing the roles of employees and employer both. So here are the three parties to industrial relations. Like I explained, we have employers or the employers association. So whether it is one employer or it is a group of them. We have employees, whether it is a single employee or a group of employees we are talking about as trade unions, and the third party, that is government, which is going to play a moderating role. So now let's take a look at the factors which are going to affect industrial relations. Here on the slide, you can see some of the major factors affecting industrial relations. The individual behavior of the employees, the management, people in the organization, the structure with the levels, the hierarchy, and the kind of communication which is being permitted and promoted in the organization. Psychological factors, inclusive of organizational climate, the atmosphere that you are having, the perceptions that you hold, the attitude that you are having towards your work and the workplace, the leadership style which is being imposed in any organization, economic and technical environment at the micro and macro level, and so do the legal and political environment existing within the organization and in the country at large. So now let's try to understand how do we manage industrial relations. These are some of the points with which you can try managing industrial relations in any organization. Strengthen trade unions democratically. Allow people to voice and speak up for their rights, for their requirements, for their needs. This participation is going to positively affect industrial relations because the employees will feel that they are heard. So the more participation is happening in the organization, better will be the industrial relations. Workers' participation in management is certainly going to improve industrial relations. Of course, there comes proper leadership, so the style must be matching the members of the organization. Employers should be transparent in their dealings. It should not be a hidden mechanism, certain policies or certain actions which are not known to the employees. Flexible and open collective bargaining. The negotiation process between the employees and employer should be flexible and should be open. The parties to the dispute must be aware about where the entire process is going. Sound labor policies and planning can be done for improving industrial relation. Again, these policies can be at the micro level, that is within the organization, or can also be planned up at the macro level where it is affecting the entire state or maybe the nation at large. Enforcement of discipline. So who is doing what are the rules and regulations that are governing the discipline mechanism overall? This is going to improve industrial relations. This is how you can manage industrial relations. And of course, you have to acknowledge the workers who are really promoting harmony in any given organization. Further, if you have to manage industrial relations, these are some more points, these are some more ways in which you can improve industrial relations. Equitable distribution of wealth and resources. People know what they are being paid for, what they can access, what they cannot, and why is it so. Equitable distribution, not equal distribution, but then who requires what on the basis of that. Just work allocation, a sense of justice, a sense of right allocation of work must be there in order to improve industrial relations. Safe work environment, which is not just limited to the physical infrastructure, but also to the interpersonal environment, the social environment which is existing in the organization. Proper communication between the team members and also with the leaders or the superiors in the organization. Planned transition of technology, no abrupt changes to be coming in as it might even affect industrial relations adversely. Respecting agreements and arrived settlements. So once you have reached up a settlement, an agreement after the collective bargaining process, you should stick on to it and you should respect it as it is. So it's not about just signing and doing something else, but then whatever has been agreed upon to limit to that. And proper leadership. With proper leadership, we can expect proper systems and mechanisms in place. So what we have learned in today's video lesson is that organizational climate summarizes the perception held by employees about the organization. Industrial relations comprises of all interactions and analyzes the relationship existing and governing these relationships and interactions. And of course, proper management of organizational climate and industrial relations can lead to smooth functioning of the organization. But is it so easy? In a nutshell, we can say that management can produce a preferred organizational climate by having certain practices in place, but whether it will work or not depends on how people are perceiving them. Also, industrial relations is mainly related with anticipating, addressing, and diffusing workplace matters that may obstruct an organization's business's goals. And this is what we need to overcome. You need to resolve the disputes between the employees or between the employees and management in order to accomplish a harmonious and a progressive growth in any organization. So with this simple idea, I will be taking your leave. Inspire, ideate, implement. This is how you can improve the organizational climate as well as industrial relations. Thank you.